Deputy Ellis, yes.
But I'm very glad to speak on this important bill submitted by my party colleague Brian Stanley. This bill stands apart really from all the other arguments about Irish water. It is not about Irish water's gross mismanagement, about the oppressive tactics of the state in pushing ahead with water meters. It is not about protesters or water balloons or being stuck in your ministerial car. It is about one thing: the public ownership of our water system. This public ownership is crucial if we believe in the right to water. A private company is not about rights-based provision. It is about profit. Water provision should not be about profit, whether that is in the circumstances where there are water charges or not. Clean, accessible drinking water is the right of every Irish citizen, and this right can only be upheld by a body in public ownership. This bill seeks to ensure that this is the case. It seeks to allow the people to affirm that right by making it a constitutional requirement that Irish water remains in public ownership. And if any subsequent government seeks to change this, they will have to go to the people on it. That's pretty simple and pretty fair, is it not? To leave such an important decision not to be made by a government on a whim when they feel they no longer need to uphold their promises is responsible. It is the ultimate expression of democracy to put this decision in the hands of the people and only them. You have to wonder if a similar approach had been taken to other momentous decisions of the past. Maybe we would not have been in quite the mess we ended up in with regard to the bank bailouts and bondholders. It now seems the government to have accepted this point, despite previous spin that Irish water was protected from privatisation. This was obviously rubbish when you consider the record of this government on protecting public services, but also the number of times they have attempted to fly kites about privatisation. The Minister for the Environment, Alan Kelly, spent the last 3 years over in the Department of Transport with Leo Varadkar, hammering nails into the coffin of CIE. So if we exercise extreme caution on his promise to protect Irish water. The plan to privatise 15% of our bus routes throughout the country and 100% of bus air and routes in Waterford is an indicator of why we need this bill. The clear fact is that the Water Services Bill does not protect from privatisation. To claim so is to play the Irish people for fools. Irish water at present could be privatised on the whim of the Environment and Finance Ministers with the consent of the Cabinet. Given Minister Kelly's party and its history of backflipping on its promises, this is far from secure. It is also worth noting that Minister Kelly's promises to personally protect Irish water are not much given his party, and that's assuming that he will be back in the next aisle, him or his party. Of course, yesterday the Minister went one further. He now says that legislation will be put in place that means a plebiscite, as he calls it, will have to be held in order to privatise Irish water. If this is only in legislation, then the legislation can be amended and that section deleted in order to provide for easy privatisation by a future government. The government are basically proposing a flimsy version of our proposal in the future. It is definitely an improvement, but it is not good enough. The people have a right to protect Irish water from privatisation. They should be allowed to exercise that right as soon as possible. And if any future government wishes to change or go against the decision of the people, they can again put it before the public. What are the government afraid of? Public ownership of water services is the will of the Irish people. If any future government sought to change this, it would be required to put the matter before the electorate through a special referendum. These are the words of the government. Put the essence of these words into action. Support this bill. Support a referendum on public ownership of water services. And if you are really dedicated to protecting this service, join with us in the campaign for its protection. Thank you.
Deputy Tobin.